The life of Korra. Korra is the current incarnation of the Avatar and immediate successor of Avatar Aang. Born and raised in the Southern Water Tribe, where she mastered waterbending, earthbending, and firebending, she later relocated to Republic City to attain a similar proficiency with airbending under the tutelage and guidance of Tenzin, as well as to help her overcome her aversion to the spiritual aspects of the bending arts. However, due to her temporary separation from Raava during the Harmonic Convergence of 171 AG, she no longer has a connection to her past lives. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the life of Korra. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Korra was born to Tanrak and Senna in the Southern Water Tribe following the death of Avatar Aang in 153 AG. Her family lived in a small house in the outskirts of Wolf Cove. At the age of 4, she proudly introduced herself to the Order of the White Lotus as the new Avatar by performing water, earth, and firebending before them. She honed her waterbending under the tutelage of Katara, though her instinctive aggressive style was nothing like the calm, slow movements the elderly master tried to pass on. After Chief Unalaq learned that his niece was the Avatar, he constantly sought Tanrak's permission to train Korra in the spiritual ways of the Water Tribe, but his estranged brother shot him down. Since he secretly desired to indoctrinate Korra in the ways of the Red Lotus and coerce her to reopen the long-dormant spirit portals to release Vaatu, Unalaq commissioned Zaheer, Ghazan, Minghua, and Pali to kidnap her in 158 AG. However, due to the effects of Tanrak, Chief Sokka, Fire Lord Zuko, and Councilman Tenzin, the attempt was thwarted, and the criminals were apprehended, although Unalaq's involvement remained unknown. After the incident, Tanrak and Tenzin decided to seclude the Avatar in the Southern Water Tribe compound, away from the public eye as she pursued the bending arts. As a young girl, during one of her waterbending training sessions with Katara, Korra accidentally knocked the elderly woman to the ground by bending a pile of snow on her and quickly apologized. However, their session got cut short by Tanrak, who noticed a snowstorm was heading their way. When the winds carried the howls of a pack of polar bear dogs across the frozen tundra, Korra desired to go play with them but was forced to return home with her parents for safety. During the night, however, she sneaked out and braved the storm, intending to track down the pack and play with them. Stumbling upon a sold pup, which got separated from the pack in the storm, she gained the animal's trust by offering it some fish jerky, and started to hop around on all fours around her, desiring to play together. When the young Avatar realized after a while that she too had gotten herself lost in the raging storm, Korra urged the animal not to fear, as she was the Avatar, and proceeded to build a rudimentary igloo with her waterbending. Sheltered from the wind, she attempted to bend a small flame for heat but subsequently lost control of it, startling herself and the polar bear pup. She quickly apologized to the animal, noting that she was not a good firebender yet due to Katara discouraging her from bending the other elements until she mastered waterbending. Musing that being the Avatar was not as fun as she thought it would be due to the abundance of rules, she found herself cheered up by the pup as it started licking her hand. Huddled together, the two youngsters eventually fell asleep. The next morning, Korra and the pup awoke from their slumber when Tanrak found and cracked open their shelter. She promptly introduced the polar bear dog to them as Naga and asked if she could keep her as she had lost her pack and needed a new family. Korra happily played with Naga in the snow while Tanrak and Senna discussed Naga's fate with Katara. Much to their mutual enthusiasm, Korra was allowed to keep her, and they all returned home, where the youngsters continued to play together. Inseparable during the following years growing up, Naga became Korra's best friend, animal guide, and main means of transport. While Korra demonstrated a prodigious talent in the arts of waterbending, earthbending, and firebending during her training sessions at the Southern Water Tribe compound. By 170 AG, at the age of 17, Korra had mastered all the elements except for airbending, which she was set to be taught by Tenzin as soon as he moved to the Southern Water Tribe. However, after Tenzin's move to her home fell through, Korra took matters into her own hands and stowed away on a ship, traveling to Republic City. Roaming through the city in search of Air Temple Island, she discovered that the bustling metropolis was not all that she had been told it was. She learned that there was a great deal of imbalance among its citizens, with triads and equalists running around. After defeating some members of the Triple Threat Triad, she found herself in trouble with Lin Beifong and her metal-bending police force. She was cleared of all charges due to Tenzin's intervention and eventually allowed to stay with him at the Air Temple to commence her airbending training there. However, progress was slow and the Avatar grew frustrated. To unwind, she joined the Fire Ferret's pro-bending team and befriended her teammates, brothers Mako and Bolin. When Bolin got kidnapped by the Equalists, Korra helped his brother find him. They tracked him down to an abandoned warehouse where they witnessed firsthand Amon's ability to strip a bender of their bending abilities. Although they managed to save Bolin, Amon left a deep impression on Korra, who grew fearsome of the Equalist leader. Regardless, she joined Councilman Tarlok's task force. While she worked to rid the city of the Equalists, she also kept training with the Bending Brothers to win the Pro-Bending Championship. Although they had some hard matches due to internal romantic struggles, they managed to reach the finale. However, after their match against the White Falls Wolfbats ended with their defeat due to the cheating of the other team, Amon and his Equalists attacked the Pro-Bending arena, effectively destroying the building. Soon after, Korra discovered that Hiroshi Sato had ties with the Equalists, and as such she invited both Asami Sato and the Bending Brothers to come live with her on the island. There, feeling insecure about herself as the Avatar, she and her friends formed a team with the purpose of patrolling the city and apprehending Equalists. As such, she angered Tarlok, and the councilman broke up their team by arresting all of Korra's friends. When she confronted Tarlok about his actions later on, the discussion erupted into a duel. As the Avatar was about to overpower the councilman, Tarlok revealed himself to be a bloodbender and subdued her with the ability. Korra was locked up in a secluded cabin in the mountains surrounding the city. In isolation, unable to escape, she meditated and connected with Aang, discovering the truth about Tarlok's heritage. However, when Amon and his Equalists ambushed the cabin, she managed to escape. In the aftermath of her escape, Amon launched his grand attack on the city. Korra and her friends fought back for a while, but the sheer number and power of the Equalists forced them on the run. Korra retreated into the tunnel system of the city, where she would await the arrival of reinforcements in the form of General Iroh and his united forces. However, he too proved to be no match for the Equalist machines, and Korra pulled the injured general out of the water. After this incident, she vowed to take the battle to Amon, and together with Mako, she set out to confront him. After having learned that he was truly a waterbender from the Northern Water Tribe, they eventually found him at the Pro-Bending arena where he was holding a victory speech. The Avatar freed Tenzin and his children, though when she faced Amon, the Equalist leader managed to take away her bending. However, as she witnessed Amon on the verge of taking Mako's bending as well, she unlocked her airbending and managed to overpower Amon. After the Equalist's defeat, Korra traveled to the Southern Water Tribe, hoping that Katara could undo Amon's action. The old healer was unable to, however, and a heartbroken Korra ran off to grieve on her own. There, she finally managed to connect with her spiritual side, and as such, Aang and the other previous avatars helped to restore her bending, as well as bestow upon her the ability to restore other people's bending. Having regained her bending and mastered the avatar state, Korra and Mako became a couple. After the anti-bending revolution, Korra extensively used energy bending to restore the bending of the innocent benders Amon victimized with his blood bending, and trained with Tenzin to perfect her skill in airbending, achieving the status as a fully realized avatar. Although Tenzin wanted her to accompany him on a journey to visit all of the air temples, Korra was adamant about first attending the Glacier Spirits Festival. However, after she learned there from her uncle, Unalaq, that it had been Tenzin and Tonraq's decision to keep her secluded in the compound, she broke with her airbending master and accepted Unalaq's offer to become her spiritual guide. As the first step in her training, Korra journeyed to the South Pole and opened the Southern Spirit Portal, causing the spirit lights to return to the south. When they made their way back to the Southern Tribe, Korra discovered that in the meantime, the Northern Navy had arrived and occupied the harbor. Although Unalaq claimed it was an attempt to reconnect both tribes, the Southerners were not pleased with the Northern presence, and Korra was forced to mediate between her own people, causing her to be seen as a traitor by some. When Korra learned of Varric's plan to kidnap Unalaq, she feared that her father was involved. She thwarted the attempt and discovered Tonraq had nothing to do with the Southern Water Tribe rebels. However, her parents were arrested and tried for treason nonetheless, a trial during which only her mother was acquitted. In an attempt to free her father, Korra confronted Judge Hota and learned that the entire trial and Tonraq's initial banishment from the north had all been orchestrated by Unalaq. Enraged, Korra and her friends, with the help of Varric, freed Tonraq and the other rebels from northern custody, effectively commencing a Water Tribe civil war. Korra and Team Avatar journeyed back to Republic City in an attempt to persuade President Raiko to deploy the United Forces fleet to aid the South. With tensions rising between the two tribes and the pressure to do something on Korra increased, she also began to have relationship troubles with Mako, and after he had informed Raiko of her plan to go to General Iroh behind his back, they broke up. In a last attempt to gather support for her tribe, Korra left for the Fire Nation to ask the Fire Lord for help. However, she never reached her destination as she was first attacked by her cousins Desna and Eska, and later ambushed and swallowed by a dark spirit. Korra washed ashore on an island inhabited by the Bonti, though the attack of the spirit had infected her avatar spirit, leaving her without her memory. She was lowered by the tribe into a pool of spirit water, where she reconnected with her avatar spirit by learning how Wan became the first avatar by fusing with Raava during Harmonic Convergence in 9829 BG, and how they defeated Vaatu. With the warning of the shaman that Harmonic Convergence was nearly upon them again, Korra tracked down Tenzin and his family at the Eastern Air Temple and asked for his help to enter the spirit world in order for her to close the Southern Spirit Portal and prevent Vaatu's escape. It was with Janora's help, however, that she managed to cross over, though soon after they arrived, the girls got separated. Korra found herself in a dark forest where she reverted to her 4-year-old self, though with the guidance of Iroh, she was able to revert the change. Making her way over to the spirit portal, she discovered that Janora had been captured by Unalaq, who threatened to destroy the girl's soul if Korra did not open the northern spirit portal as well. Korra complied, though as opposed to earning Janora's freedom, she was attacked by Unalaq and dark spirits. Korra managed to escape with the help of a dragonbird spirit and return to the physical world. Having gathered reinforcements in the form of Team Avatar and Varric's battleship, Korra made her way to the south to enter the spirit world through the portal there and closed the portals from the inside before Harmonic Convergence started. Although their initial attempt to breach through the northern defenses at the portal ended up with their capture, the team managed to escape due to Bumi's intervention. While Tenzin, Kaya, and Bumi would look for Janora, Mako and Bolin would hold back Unalaq while Korra closed the portals. She did not manage to close them in time, however, and Vaatu managed to escape at the start of the celestial event. Although she tried to re-imprison the Spirit of Darkness, she could not prevent him from fusing with Unalaq and becoming the Dark Avatar. With the fate of the world at stake, Korra engaged Unalaq in battle. She was overpowered by him, however, and he extracted Raava out of her and destroyed the Light Spirit, effectively severing Korra's connection to all her past lives. While Unalaq, now transformed into Unavaatu, had traveled to Republic City, Korra meditated within the Tree of Time to connect with the cosmic energy, which enabled her to spiritually project an enormous apparition of her own spirit. Traveling via the spirit lights to Republic City as well, Korra engaged Unavaatu in battle. During the fight, she searched the Dark Avatar for a sign of Raava, as she knew that dark could not live without light, and upon the destruction of one spirit, it would always live on in the other. Distracted by her mission, Unavaatu took advantage of the unguarded moment to trap Korra's soul with spirit bending. As Korra's spirit was on the verge of being corrupted, Janora's spiritual projection appeared and revealed Raava within Unavaatu. Korra pulled the light spirit out before using spirit bending herself to purify Unavaatu, dissipating him in the process. With Harmonic Convergence nearing its end, Korra, Raava, and Janora returned to the spirit world, where Korra and Raava fused again as the convergence ended, thus restarting the Avatar cycle. Upon her return to the physical world, Korra declared the Water Tribe's civil war over, and the South an independent nation with Tonraq as its chief. She also announced that both spirit portals would remain open, ushering in a new era in which humans and spirits coexisted. Shortly after the Unalaq crisis, Korra temporarily lost her bending due to being attacked by chi-blocking darts. On a quest to regain her abilities, she fought off the Triple Threat Triad and the Residual Equalists, who had all been enlisted by Hundan, as well as hordes of dark spirits. She eventually tracked Hundan down to the spirit world, where she learned that he was out for vengeance due to the actions of one of her past lives. Despite facing fierce mental and physical challenges, she eventually managed to regain her ability to enter the Avatar state and overpowered Hundan, using her spirit bending to dissipate him and his brother. In the following week, Korra continued to struggle with the changes that Harmonic Convergence brought. The spirit vines created by the Dark Avatar had taken over parts of Republic City, leaving countless citizens homeless, and her failure to remove them caused tension between her and President Raiko. Additionally, the shift in the world's energy gave several people across the Earth Kingdom the ability to airbend. After her clash with Raiko reached its zenith and her banishment from the city, Korra and her allies set out to scour the Earth Kingdom in search of these new benders to offer them training and guidance. Despite initial failures to persuade the new airbenders to abandon their lifestyle in order to rebuild the Air Nation, they eventually managed to persuade Kai to join them. They journeyed to Ba Sing Se, where they eventually discovered that Earth Queen Huting had been conscripting the airbenders into her army, holding them captive underneath the Earth Queen's temple. Before they could formulate a plan to free them, Lin joined them and informed them of the escape of 4 dangerous criminals who were after Korra. She dismissed the threat, however, and decided to stay focused on freeing the airbenders. Successfully fighting off the Dai Li and escaping the city, the airbenders and Tenzin traveled to the Northern Air Temple, while Korra, her friends, and Lin continued the search for more benders. Their search led them to Zhao Fu, where they met up with Suyin Beifong, Lin's half-sister, whose daughter Opal had become an airbender. Although the plan had been to send Opal to the Northern Air Temple, the team stayed at Zhao Fu for a while on Suyin's suggestion. While training Opal in the basics, Korra was taught metal bending by Suyin, becoming the first metal bending avatar. The threat Lin warned her about eventually caught up with her, and Korra was kidnapped by Zaheer and his 3 companions, Gazan, Pali, and Minghua. Before they could escape, however, she was saved by her friends, and after discovering that Ai Wei had led the criminals inside the city, Team Avatar left the Metal Clan in order to track him down and find out why Korra was being targeted. Following him to the Misty Palms Oasis, the team discovered that Ai Wei was meeting Zaheer at Zaibao's Grove. In an attempt to follow them, they staked out Ai Wei's room at the Misty Palms Inn, though eventually discovered that the grove was located in the spirit world. Korra entered the spirit world via meditation herself and found Ai Wei being confronted by Zaheer. Zaheer promptly disposed of Ai Wei by throwing him into the fog of lost souls, leaving the 2 of them to talk. Being allowed to ask questions, Korra discovered that Zaheer and his associates were part of the Red Lotus, who desired to radically change the world by doing away with the separation of the 4 nations. Meanwhile, Korra's meditating form was taken by Asami on Naga, as Gazan and Minghua attempted to kidnap her. Although they managed to escape the Red Lotus, however, they were captured by Earth Kingdom soldiers since the Earth Queen had declared them enemies of the kingdom. Korra and Asami eventually managed to free themselves and prevent being taken back to Ba Sing Se. Their escape left them and the airship crew stranded in the Siwang Desert, forcing them all to work together to reach the safety of the Misty Palms Oasis, where they once again met up with Mako, Bolin, Lin, Tonrak, and Zuko, and learned that Zaheer had killed the Earth Queen and threatened to do the same with the airbenders at the Northern Air Temple, lest Korra surrender herself to them. Their forces were strengthened by Suyin and her security force, and the team set course for the Northern Air Temple. On the way, Korra decided that she would give herself up, as it was the only way to save the airbenders. As such, she met Zaheer atop Lahima's peak, while Asami, Mako, and Bolin would check on the airbenders at the temple, and Tonrak and the metalbenders would scale the mountain to be her backup. Zaheer double-crossed them, however, and despite Pali's demise in the ensuing battle, he managed to escape with an unconscious Korra. When she woke up, Korra found herself suspended in chains in an underground prison hold, and was administered poison through pores in her skin. She was told the poison would force her body into the Avatar state, enabling the Red Lotus to end the Avatar cycle if they killed her in the Avatar state. She tried to fight it off, though she eventually succumbed to the poison's influence and the Avatar state was triggered. The moment she remained in the state, she was attacked by Gazan and Minghua. Using her enhanced strength and bending abilities, she managed to free herself from her chains and confronted Zaheer in a duel, while Bolin and Mako took care of the others. With the Avatar state, Korra was able to hold her own against Zaheer, even force him on the defense, though she could not keep up battling both him and the poison, eventually succumbing to its effect. Rendered defenseless, Zaheer took the opportunity to suffocate her, though before he could finish his attack, they were both trapped in a tornado created by Jinora and the novice airbenders. Freed from Zaheer's hold, Korra managed to ensnare Zaheer and pull him down with her, enabling Lin and Suyin to trap him in an earthen prison. Despite her victory, Korra was left on the verge of death due to the poison within her. When Jinora recognized the poison to be a metallic solution, Suyin tried to bend it out of her, saving her life. However, the cumulative trauma from the poison and hitting the ground after Zaheer sent her plummeting off of a cliff had taken a great toll on her, confining her to a wheelchair in a physically and emotionally weakened state. After Jinora's ceremony, Korra changed into her normal attire and was set to board the steamship heading toward the Southern Water Tribe, together with her parents, Naga and Kaya. Before boarding, she was given a letter by Bolin, who expressed his delight over becoming pen pals with her. Although Asami inquired if she would be fine on her own as the businesswoman would be happy to accompany her, Korra declined the offer, stating that some weeks by herself to heal would do her good. Tenzin reassured her that he, Jinora, and the Air Nation would try their best to take care of things in her absence so she could focus all her energy on healing. 3 weeks later, while staying at the Southern Water Tribe Royal Palace, Korra had a nightmare about Zaheer asphyxiating her. She woke up, severely distressed and breathing heavily. Korra went out on the balcony for some fresh air and to look at the spirit lights, where she was found by her mother. Senna approached her, worrying about her well-being, and urged her to seek help from Katara. She agreed and received a hug from her mother, who expressed her love for Korra. While being healed by Katara, Korra was told that the mercury poison had caused considerable internal damage. Inquiring if the elder could fix it, Korra was told that her recovery was dependent on her own efforts, though Katara would help guide her through the process. Korra expressed her desire to recover and was urged to visualize her big toe moving, a feat she managed to accomplish much to her delight. Korra subsequently moved to the parallel bars in order to try walking. Leaning heavily on the bars, she managed to keep herself standing, though before she could take a step, she was overwhelmed by the memory of herself being poisoned by the Red Lotus, causing her to lose her balance and fall down. Although Katara comforted her, emphasizing that she was safe there, and urging her to use her mind to overcome her pain, Korra refused to try again, declaring herself done for that day. Throughout her stay in the South, Korra received and read the letters sent to her by Asami, Mako, and Bolin. Korra kept up her intensive physiotherapy training, though nearly 6 months later she lost patience due to a lack of significant progress. Lamenting about her inability to take more than a few steps without collapsing, she snapped at Katara in her frustration over being dependent on others for everything while her friends were helping the world, and the elderly woman could not heal her. Immediately realizing that she should not have addressed Katara that way, she apologized and was told to let go of her anger and frustration. Upon admitting that she was tired of her situation and the senselessness of it all, Katara tried to comfort her by sharing the sense of loss Aang felt over losing his entire culture, and telling her that he had tried to find meaning in the suffering and eventually even succeeded to find peace. When Korra asked what she would find, she was offered the response that whatever it was, it would be interesting to find out. Korra subsequently tried to walk again with the aid of the parallel bars, and managed to walk the short distance toward Naga, falling happily against the polar bear dog's chest. Korra continued to improve, and by the time Tenzin arrived at the Southern Water Tribe compound, Korra had improved to the point where she could once again run around and fight. As the airbending master climbed off Ugi, she warmly embraced him, exclaiming how much she had missed him. Upon receiving the compliment that she looked great, she dragged Tenzin off toward the training grounds, eager to show him how much she had improved. She sparred against 3 firebenders, and although she started strong, she was knocked down after she was once again overcome with a vision of Zaheer flying down upon her. Helped back to her feet by Tenzin, who declared the sparring match to be over, she angrily stated that she believed she had been ready. As Tenzin tried to put her at ease by pointing out that there was no shame in taking the time needed to make a full recovery, as her duties as the Avatar could wait, Korra asked about the Earth Kingdom since she knew it was still in chaos. Hearing that the situation had been stabilized by Kuvira, she grew sad, stating that the metalbender was doing her job. Before Tenzin could tell her that she merely needed to be patient, Korra glared at him, threatening that if he would voice the thought, she would water smack him in the mouth. Frustrated about the situation, she left the sparring ring. For 2 years, Korra continued her training and recovery at the Southern Water Tribe. At one point, she wrote a letter back to Asami in which she apologized for not having written before. She revealed that the past couple of years had been the hardest of her life, and even though she had recovered physically, she still could not enter the Avatar state, and was often plagued by memories of Zaheer and the Red Lotus attack. She admitted that she worried she might never fully recover, despite her best efforts. Korra implored Asami not to inform Mako and Bolin about the letter, as she did not want to hurt their feelings, and felt that they would not understand her as opposed to Asami. While having a meal with her parents, an absent-minded Korra was playing with her food until her mother's inquiry about her well-being snapped her out of her thought. She expressed her desire to return to Republic City, hoping that it could speed up her recovery due to it being the place of action and where her friends were. Korra declined Tonraq's offer to get the White Lotus to prepare for her departure, insisting on going alone as it would give her the chance to clear her head. En route, Korra briefly stopped at a beachside village to purchase supplies. Upon requesting the local fishmonger for 2 lobster crabs, she was recognized as the Avatar and asked to pose for a picture just like Avatar Aang had done decades before. The man's ramblings about avatars were cut short when another vendor shouted about a robbery in progress, and the fishmonger pushed Korra to intervene. Although she intercepted the thieves, the 2 men easily defeated her, leaving Korra lying on the beach in shame. Korra eventually made it to Republic City, though as she neared Air Temple Island, she saw herself in the Avatar state standing atop one of the rocks near the island, glaring menacingly at her. Realizing she was not ready to return, she turned her boat and left Yue Bay, docking somewhere in a deserted area where she obtained Earth Kingdom clothes, shed all her Water Tribe identifiers, and cut her hair. Korra traveled to the spirit world through the northern spirit portal and made her way to the Tree of Time. Her meditation in the hollow of the tree was interrupted by chattering spirits who were debating among themselves whether or not she was the Avatar. When Korra verified her identity as such, she revealed to them that she had been away for a while due to sustaining severe injuries in her last big battle, which had left her unable to contact Raava. She admitted to meditating in the Tree of Time since the last time she had done so it had shown her a myriad of images, and she'd hoped it would be the case again, figuring it could help her reconnect with Raava and access the Avatar state. When it proved to be unsuccessful, she declined the spirit's help, deciding that she needed to figure it out on her own, since the help of others had not borne any fruit so far. In order to keep people from worrying about her, Korra wrote letters to her parents, telling them she was pleased to have returned to Air Temple Island and see her friends again. In reality, however, Korra was roaming the physical world by herself, crossing icy seas, hiking up volcanoes, and traversing the desert, all the while seeing an apparition of herself in the Avatar state. While she was wandering the desert, Korra saw Raava atop a nearby dune, though by the time she had scampered to the top, the light spirit was gone, having only been a mirage. 6 months after having left the South Pole, Korra made her way to a small Earth Kingdom town at night, where she was once again haunted by her Avatar apparition. Determined to end the haunting, Korra confronted the apparition, though lost. When she encountered a puppy in the middle of the road, she decided to follow the dog after it chased away her apparition and ended up at the foggy swamp. Losing track of the animal, which turned out to be the light spirit whom she had met at the Tree of Time, she was once again attacked by her apparition, who dragged her down in a hallucinatory pool of mercury. She eventually woke up in the home of Toph Beifong, who had found her unconscious in the mud. Desiring to get back into Avatar fighting shape, Korra asked Toph for help and eventually learned that she was still carrying around traces of mercury. When she was plagued by another vision of Zaheer trying to asphyxiate her in the Avatar state, as Toph tried to remove the remainder of the poison, she told Korra that she would have to bend the metal out of herself, since she was subconsciously fighting Toph's attempts to remove it out of fear of getting injured again. When Korra made her way through the swamp 2 days later, she was haunted by visions of her old enemies once again. Though with Toph's help, she figured out that she needed to face her fears and stop fighting her old enemies if she ever wished to be able to deal with future threats. In order to speed up her recovery, Toph took her to the Banyan Grove tree, where she reconnected with herself in the world. After being found by Jinora, Ikki, and Milo, they all returned to Toph's dwelling in the swamp, where Korra eventually managed to bend all of the residual poison out of her system. In order to let Kuvira and the rest of the world know that the Avatar was back, Korra and the 3 airbenders traded the swamp for Zaofu, though they discovered that the military of the Earth Empire was already camped at its gates. Believing that conflict had only made things worse in the past, Korra set out to negotiate with Kuvira, though she was urged to convince Suyin to give the city up. Upon her return to the city, Korra learned that Suyin had left with Wei and Wing to sneak into Kuvira's camp and deal with the threat themselves. When Kuvira announced over the city's communication system that Suyin and the twins had been captured, Korra tried to reason with the army commander, though she ended up being challenged for a one-on-one duel for the fate of Zaofu. Kuvira had the upper hand until Korra entered the Avatar state. On the verge of ending Kuvira, however, she was plagued by another hallucination of herself in the Avatar state, allowing the army commander to recover and defeat her. As Kuvira moved to kill her, she was saved by Jinora and Opal and escaped from Zaofu with them, Ikki, and Milo. Returning to Republic City, Korra met up with Asami and Mako, though their reunion soon became tense due to their 3-year separation. When Prince Wu was kidnapped, the trio gave chase, tracking the royal down to a train departing from Central City Station. Despite the team's continuous bickering, they found Wu and freed him, though they were soon after forced on the defense by several Earth Empire agents. Working together, however, they managed to hold them off and escape. The 3 friends made amends before Mako retreated to the Sato estate with Wu, and Korra and Asami returned to Air Temple Island. As Korra mulled over her past experiences, she became doubtful over her abilities as the Avatar, though with the support of Asami and Tenzin, she became once again determined to restore balance in the world. When Jinora asked for her and Opal's help to search for Ryu, who had gone missing with his tour group in the Spirit Wilds, Korra discovered via the plants that Kuvira was harvesting roots from the foggy swamp. Splitting for Jinora, she left to warn the world leaders about the impending danger, though she was soon contacted by Jinora again, who called for help as she was being attacked by the vines. With Mako's help, Korra discovered that Jinora, Ryu, and the other tourist souls had been trapped in the spirit world, though after failing to meditate in, being blocked again by Zaheer's memory, she concluded that she needed to face the Red Lotus leader. When Zaheer noted that her spiritual block was a conscious choice, Korra snapped at him for having created the worst dictator the Earth Kingdom had ever seen, which led Zaheer to offer to guide her into the spirit world. Although Korra initially refused his help, she let him guide her through her traumatic experience, and she managed to make it into the spirit world where Raava's spirit lit up within her. Together, they found and rescued the trapped souls. To help the United Republic prepare for battle, Korra asked the spirits to help defend their new home, though they refused to take part in human wars. When she later learned that Kuvira's attack was imminent, Korra and Team Avatar set out to destroy the train tracks with which they presumed Kuvira would transport her spirit energy cannon to Republic City. Much to her shock, however, she discovered that Kuvira was already nearing the city and had instead mounted the weapon on the Colossus, an enormous mecha suit. While the Earth Empire military forced the United Forces to surrender, Korra formed an airbender stealth team and kidnapped Baatar Jr. in order to force him to try and talk Kuvira out of conquering the United Republic of Nations. The plan failed, however, and they were nearly all killed when she blew up the Future Industries factory in which they were all hiding. While it was decided that Asami and Varrick, with the help of Hiroshi and Julie, would adjust the prototypes of the Hummingbird mecha suits in order to cut through the platinum, Korra and the other benders faced the Colossus in an attempt to slow it down. After Asami and Hiroshi managed to cut a hole in the suit, which cost Hiroshi his life, Korra, Mako, Bolin, Lin, and Suyin infiltrated the mecha suit. While Lin and Suyin took down the cannon, which ended up being discarded in the spirit wilds, Korra faced Kuvira, though their battle was interrupted when Mako and Bolin caused the engine to explode. The two women continued their fight inside the spirit wilds, where Kuvira fired the spirit energy cannon at Korra. Although she dove out of the way of the beam, the cannon charged itself with the surrounding spirit vines and overloaded. When the beam threatened to kill Kuvira, Korra jumped in front of her and, entering the Avatar state, held the beam at bay, though the enormous surge of energy expanded around them and exploded, creating a new spirit portal. Korra and Kuvira were thrown into the spirit world. Seeing her opportunity, Korra explained that she saw a lot of herself in Kuvira, stating that they were both fierce and determined to succeed, sometimes even without thinking things through. When the metal bender snapped that she had merely been trying to help her people in the absence of the Avatar, Korra understood that Kuvira had only been trying to create a place where she and her people would never have to feel vulnerable again, and sympathized with the hardships that come from a life as an orphan. She managed to convince Kuvira to surrender, and when they both exited the spirit world via the portal, Kuvira gave herself up to Lin and Suyin, acknowledging that the Avatar had saved her life and possessed a power beyond what she could ever hope to achieve. Later, Korra attended Varrick and Julie's wedding at Air Temple Island, during which she learned that Wu planned to abolish the Earth monarchy and establish independent states, with democratically elected governments akin to the United Republic of Nations instead, a cause for which she pledged her support. When Korra later distanced herself from the party and gazed over the skyline of Republic City, she was joined by Tenzin. Talking about how much she had already changed the world and how much more she desired to do, they were eventually interrupted by Asami, and Tenzin left the two women to themselves. Korra apologized to Asami for having been absent for 3 years and tried to comfort her for the loss of her father. When Asami stated that she did not feel like returning to the party and could use a vacation, Korra offered to go with her anywhere she wanted. The two decided to journey to the spirit world, and upon stepping into the spirit portal, they turned to each other and both held hands while gazing lovingly into each other's eyes, starting their romantic relationship together. Korra and Asami spent some time together exploring the spirit world, although their vacation was cut short by one disgruntled spirit causing them to lose their supplies. Before they left, they shared their first kiss, with Korra noting that they had been able to spend a few wonderful days together. The new couple chose to journey to the southern portal and pay a visit to Korra's parents and tell them about their new relationship. Although Korra's parents were fully supportive, Korra grew offended when Tonraq suggested that they keep their relationship private from anyone who might disapprove, and abruptly left her parents. Korra was reassured by Asami that her parents were likely just trying to keep her safe as they made their way back to Republic City via the portal. Arriving back in the city, Korra discovered that the new portal was the site of a property dispute between the land's owner, Wanyang Kim, and the Air Nation, who claimed that the portal was now a spiritually sacred site. Meanwhile, the Dragon Eel spirit urged Korra to close the new portals, as it would only lead to new disputes between humans and spirits. Korra and Asami returned to the evacuee camp, where they were welcomed by the rest of their friends and allies, and took note of the distress faced by the evacuated citizens of Republic City. Korra decided to meet with Raiko, asking him to provide financial aid for the evacuees and for the city to buy the land off Kim to settle the dispute, but the president rejected both suggestions, citing the nation's financial difficulties. Frustrated, Korra returned to Air Temple Island, where Kaya complimented her and Asami on their new relationship. Kaya revealed her own sexuality to Korra, explaining that each of the nations had their own view on same-sex relationships, and that she would always be there for Korra if she needed support. Korra was then greeted by Mako and Bolin, but the group was interrupted by Janora's spirit projection, informing them of a new conflict at the spirit portal. The group flew to the portal via flying bison, only to see spirits trying to attack humans at the portal, and saw that several Triple Threat Triad members were present. Korra fought off the Triad members after they started attacking Asami and witnessed the Triad's new leader, Toguka, being disfigured by a spirit attack. After the confrontation, Korra kissed Asami, revealing their relationship to all of their friends. Following the battle, Korra and the airbenders ventured through the portal, only to see that it had decayed, and had been abandoned by the spirits following the new conflicts with humans. Several withered vines began attacking the group after Iki tried to touch one of them, and Korra was able to hold off the plants with her firebending before the group escaped through the portal. They arrived in the material world to find that the united forces had started to occupy the area, which Korra believed would only anger the spirits further. Korra tried to convince the president to order the troops to pull away from the portal, but the president refused, harshly criticizing Korra for her part in creating the portal in the first place. Back at the evacuee camp, Korra and her friends encouraged Zhu Li to run against Raiko in the upcoming presidential election. The following morning, Korra learned that the Creeping Crystal Triad had tried to extort Asami and offered to deal with their leader, but Asami told her she did not have to intervene in all of her troubles and offered to take Korra on a date that evening. However, Asami did not turn up to the date, and Korra called Mako and Bolin to back her up in going to the Creeping Crystal's headquarters in search of Asami. Jargala, the Triad leader, denied kidnapping Asami, while Mako revealed that Wanyang Kim had also been kidnapped. The team soon discovered that Toguka had kidnapped Kim, and that he was likely responsible for Asami's disappearance. Korra entered the Avatar state in order to battle the Triad, but with Toguka revealing that Asami would die if Korra did not do what she said, she exited the Avatar state. Korra worked with the police to track down the Triple Threats, and struck a deal with Jargala to team up with her Triad in order to take down the Creeping Crystal's rivals. After witnessing Toguka and his hostages board an airship, Korra borrowed Ugi and flew to release Asami from captivity. Now alerted of Korra's presence, Toguka gave an order to release poison gas to the city, but Asami managed to pilot the ship through the portal and into the spirit world. Toguka battled Korra and successfully chi-blocked her, but Asami swerved the ship to make the attacker lose his balance before the ship touched down on the ground. Although Toguka escaped, Kim agreed to relinquish his claims to the land around the portal in thanks for the Avatar saving his life. Several weeks later, Korra witnessed Zhu Li's election as president and her decision to grant the land around the portal to the Air Nation. She met with Tonrak again and fully reconciled with him for their earlier misunderstanding before she and Asami declared their love for one another. 3 months after the invasion of the United Republic, Kuvira's trial began to commence, while Wu announced the beginning of the Earth Kingdom's election and its democratic transition. Korra and her friends were brought to a meeting with President Moon and were shocked to discover an Earth Empire holdout still operating in the state of Gaoling, the same region where the first elections were due to be held. After meeting with Kuvira to acquire more information about the new de facto Earth Empire leader, Guan, she came to the conclusion that the former dictator was now a broken woman, and thought it was possible for Kuvira to come and talk the Earth Empire holdout into surrendering. The president agreed to Kuvira's temporary release and traveled with Team Avatar to Gaoling via a Future Industries airship. After arriving in the city, Korra grew somewhat skeptical of the elections, as the only 2 candidates were remnants of the bureaucratic Earth Kingdom monarchy. When Guan began to march on the city, Kuvira began to intimidate him, but Asami had the woman shocked via an electrode belt after she tried to initiate violence. Guan also revealed his intention to run in the election democratically instead of conquering the city. The group locked up Kuvira in a platinum pod in the airship and decided to try to convince Toph to run in the election, as she had much more of a hope in defeating Guan than the other candidates. Korra and Wu readied to venture into the foggy swamp on Naga, while their other allies left for Zaofu to hold Kuvira there until the end of the election. Korra sensed Toph's location through the spirit vines and ended up at her cave in order to convince her to join. The elderly earthbender initially refused, but Korra and the king convinced Toph to run after Wu told Toph about a vision he received of the late queen. The group returned to Gaoling with Toph, registering her as an official candidate, but were shocked to see Kuvira disguised as an Earth Empire soldier on their way to the airship. Kuvira claimed that the rest of Team Avatar had been brainwashed, which Toph confirmed to be true via her truth-seeing. The group saw a Metal Clan airship approach the airfield, as Kuvira had informed Su Yin of the situation earlier. A small confrontation broke out with Guan's forces, and although Korra was able to retrieve a brainwashed Asami, the king was lost to Earth Empire forces. After Korra arrived in Zaofu, she learned that Kuvira and Baatar Jr. had been able to put aside their differences to work on the project to reverse the new brainwashing technique. Asami snapped away Korra's attempts at affection before the process began. Initially, the attempts found little success, but after Baatar Jr. experimented on Kuvira's untampered mind, the technique could successfully be adjusted, and Asami's brainwashing was cured. Korra began to comfort her girlfriend, but then the group was informed that Guan had been able to win the election during their time away from Gaoling. Korra called President Moon only to be ordered to immediately bring Kuvira back to Republic City until it could be decided what they should do next. Korra spent the night with Asami, trying to further assure her that all was well, but Suyin arrived to tell them that Kuvira had escaped in the night. The couple flew to Gaoling on Juicy with Toph, Suyin, and Opal, where they battled soldiers at the re-education camp, until Kuvira forced Guan to surrender. After the city's population and Korra's allies were cured of their brainwashing, Wu announced that the Earth Kingdom would need a longer transitional time to democracy, with each state being able to set its own election timetables. The team returned to Republic City to see Kuvira enter a new guilty plea and receive a less severe sentence due to her actions, with Korra believing that Kuvira had been able to redeem herself. By 174 AG, Republic City Park had been renamed Avatar Korra Park in commemoration of Korra's acts of heroism, and a statue of her was erected there as well. Korra is a very respected figure in the Southern Water Tribe community of Republic City, and she has supported the continued growth of the Southern Water Tribe Cultural Center. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.